Stopping overthinking, also sometimes called quieting your mind or getting out of your head or not spiraling or mental clarity or whatever self-help gurus rebrand it as next quarter, is actually pretty easy. Most people think overthinking is this permanent condition, like you're cursed, like your brain just runs at a higher RPM than everyone else's and there's nothing you can do about it. But that's not really what's happening. The reason people overthink isn't because they think too much, it's because they think wrong. They mistake mental motion for mental progress. It's like being on a treadmill and wondering why you're not getting anywhere. You're not overthinking, you're looping. And loops don't solve problems, they just burn energy pretending to. The second you realize that, the whole thing collapses. Here's what actually happens when you overthink. You encounter a problem. Could be anything. A text you sent, a decision you made, something someone said that felt weird. And instead of solving it, you simulate it. You imagine 5 versions of the conversation. You replay what you said. You predict what they're thinking. You rehearse what you'll say next time. You build an entire alternate timeline where you said the smart thing instead of the dumb thing. And it feels productive. It feels like you're working on it. But you're not. You're just rewatching the same episode over and over, hoping the ending changes. Which, spoiler alert, it doesn't. The problem is that your brain doesn't know the difference between thinking about something and thinking through something. Thinking about something is open-ended, it's recursive. It's designed to keep going because there's no finish line. You're asking questions that don't have answers yet, so your brain just keeps asking. Thinking through something has a structure. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's here's the problem, here's the options, here's the decision. Done. Most overthinkers never get to step 2. They just stay in step 1 forever, rotating the problem like a Rubik's Cube they're not actually trying to solve. And the worst part? The longer you loop, the more real the imaginary problem becomes. You start treating your predictions like facts. You start believing your anxious scenarios are more likely than neutral ones. You start thinking you're being realistic, when really you're just catastrophizing with extra steps. It's like writing fan fiction about your own life and then getting mad that the plot sucks. Now, here's the thing most people don't realize. Overthinking isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. And like any habit, it only exists because it's serving some hidden function. Usually, it's avoidance. You overthink because as long as you're thinking, you don't have to act. As long as you're figuring it out, you're protected from being wrong. As long as you're spinning in your head, the real world can't reject you yet. It's procrastination disguised as diligence. And your brain loves that trick because it gets to feel responsible without actually taking responsibility. Which is why telling an overthinker to just stop thinking about it is like telling someone on a treadmill to just stop running. They're not running because they love cardio. They're running because they're afraid of what happens when they stop. So here's the real answer. Stopping overthinking isn't about thinking less. It's about thinking differently. It's about recognizing when you've crossed the line from problem solving into problem simulation. And the second you catch yourself looping, asking the same question for the 3rd time, imagining the same scenario again, you stop. Not because the question isn't important, but because thinking about it more won't make it more answerable. You've hit the limit of useful thought. Anything past that point is just mental theater. And the truth is, most problems don't get solved by thinking harder. They get solved by doing something and seeing what happens. Which sounds reckless until you realize that overthinking is also reckless. You're just taking the risk internally instead of externally. And internal risk doesn't teach you anything. Real life has feedback. Your imagination doesn't. So the move isn't to think less. It's to think, decide, and then stop. Trust that you've done enough. Trust that you'll handle whatever comes next when it actually comes. Trust that your brain doesn't need to pre-live every possible future in order to survive one of them. Alright, so how do you actually do this? 3 things. 1. Set a decision timer. Give yourself a specific amount of time to think about something. Could be 5 minutes, could be a day, and when the timer's up, you decide. Not perfectly, just decisively. And then you're done thinking about it. 2. Externalize the loop. Write it down, say it out loud, text it to a friend. The second it's outside your head, it stops being this massive swirling thing and becomes a few sentences you can actually evaluate. Most overthinking dies the moment it has to explain itself. 3. Practice boredom. Seriously. Overthinking thrives when your brain has nothing else to do. If you're constantly filling silence with spirals, start filling silence with nothing. Sit there. Be bored. Let your brain realize it doesn't need to entertain you with anxiety. That's it. That's the whole system. Overthinking isn't a disorder. It's not even a flaw. It's just your brain trying to protect you using a strategy that doesn't work anymore. And the second you stop treating it like this permanent part of who you are and start treating it like a habit you can change, it becomes one. Which, if you think about it, is kind of the point. Or don't think about it. That works too. Anyway, subscribe if this helped. Or don't. I'm not overthinking it.